Hey everybody.
Hi everyone.
It's June.
My favorite month.
How come?
Because my birthday is in June, your birthday is in June, and even more than that, it's the start of summer. Summer is just unfolding. And our theme this month is resilience. And we think about resilience as far as systems or even people recovering from some kind of traumatic event, and that's resilience. But so is the unfolding of creativity year after year, millennia after millennia, like it does in this time of year. That's a kind of resilience too.
Yeah, well, and every season probably has some evidence of resilience, but
Yeah.
when it's starting to move towards summer, I was walking here earlier and remembering that a month ago, this was all covered with snow. A month ago.
Yeah.
And so this is just amazing to go from that white and sometimes blue to this green and sometimes blue. And the rain and the birds. Oh my goodness, we've got red-winged blackbirds and swifts. She saw a swift earlier.
Right, and ruby-crowned kinglets. And you saw western tanager.
That's right, I did today.
Yeah.
And the sandhill cranes come here in the summertime. So, yeah, that's so a form of resilience, as you were saying, is just the way that, in some ways, the way renewal is a theme in all of our lives all the time.
Yeah.
The renewing that comes when night shifts into dawn, shifts into day, it just renews and renews.
Yeah, it does. And sometimes you can think of it even renewal on a very biological level, because over in Yellowstone the bugs are hatching and they feed the trout, and the trout feeds the grizzly bear, and waste from the grizzly bear feeds the soil that feeds the wheatgrass, that feeds the elk, that feeds the wolves, and no 2 days alike. All kinds of things changing and surprises here and there, but nonetheless, this unfolding that's been going on for so many tens of thousands of years, it's comforting to have that reliability.
Yeah, there's this thing in psychology that really echoes what you're describing. Every one of the beings in that constantly changing and shifting and just magnificently mysterious ecosystem, any ecosystem that you're describing, everyone is able to succeed because of their flexibility.
Yeah.
And that there are things that are associated in a correlational way with resilience, and they are things like optimism and a sense of self-efficacy, that I can do this. There are things like having friends, having community that you can turn to in times of difficulty. But no one of those things alone ever predicts that you're going to experience resilience. However, what we've learned from the research, especially in recent years, is that about 2/3 of all people who experience, and we all do, difficult circumstances demonstrate resilience. And resilience is a kind of, it's not bouncing back and back to normal, but it's okay, I can do this. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then all the markers for mental health and physical health look pretty good. So this flexibility comes with not needing it to fit with a playbook, not needing it to fit with a formula, but to know that you've got enough skill and enough capacity for attention and improvisation to make it through the difficulties that come our way. So a kind of flexibility sequence.
Yeah. I have read, I can't remember who the social scientist was, and perhaps there are many of them, but have talked about how one of the difficulties and challenges of humans is we've built a lot of our systems to run optimally when things are stable and predictable, and there are very few variances, and so they do fine when that happens. But in the face of big changes, and climate change is a good example, some of those systems don't have the capacity to be flexible and to deal in real time with that unpredictability that you're talking about. And in that sense, we would do well to look at nature and see how unpredictability is dealt with, and remember that we too, as nature, have that deep in our bones.
Absolutely. So it's improv all the time, and this is not new from what we've been talking about in ecology, that we're always in improvisation. But it is, as you're saying, something that's less built into the way we make sense, especially in Western culture. What
Yeah.
do you see in the natural world that's evidence of resilience? You had something like that as one of the 8 master lessons, and we have resilience as one of the 8 instructions in full ecology.
Well, what I talked about in the 8 Master Lessons of Nature was resilience in the face of a big change, a big disruption, which we mentioned earlier. So if a big wildfire comes through this summer, and they will, near
Already
here
are.
or far from here, but they will, there are kind of key strategies hidden within the ecology to deal with that kind of a disruption. You've got ponderosa pine, that the mature trees have dropped their branches 30 to 40 feet up so the fire can't climb into the canopy of the tree and kill it. You've got lodgepole pines that open their seeds, about 20% of them open their seeds only when fire is present for about a minute, and so they're ready to start growing as soon as the fire has passed, and that rich ash from the trees that have burned gives sulfur and phosphorus and all these essential minerals and nutrients to the soil, and that grows the grass and makes more nutritious grass for the grazers like the elk. And so that kind of resiliency is, I think, back to your example of being flexible and being adaptable. And of course, fires have been going on for millions of years, so this system has been fine-tuned to an enormous degree.
We're not saying that difficulty and even catastrophe don't happen. They do. And of course, we don't wish that on ourselves or anybody else. But we know, and any of us knows, no matter how old we are, that bad days, bad things happen. And we have to be in them, unfortunately. And sometimes they bring on great grief. But then the flexibility part is what we have in front of us. We have the possibility always of understanding that this is a moment that isn't like every moment, and there will be better moments coming. And that we have skills for being in our lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be in our lives right this minute, watching this video. There have been a lot of successes to bring us to this point.
Yeah.
And so that is then followed by, okay, what's the problem in front of us right now? And what can we do about it?
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking about too, the number, you've heard us say this, I think, before, some of you, that the number one predictor of an ecosystem being resilient is diversity. And so that's an interesting subtopic to me. Is our resilience also as humans, I think, without a question, supported and nourished by diversity? Diversity of experiences, diversity of friends, diversity of mixing with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and that kind of creative stew is much what happens in the natural world and allows communities to be so strong.
Even diversity of experience in terms of adverse experiences. We learn that things do fall apart, as Pema Chodron has said. This is the nature of walking through a life. They kind of pull themselves together. They're never 100% perfect. And then they fall apart again. And then they pull themselves kind of together. And this is the way that we move through life. Even with filming this right now, we've stopped a couple of times for a plane or for something we've misspoken. This is the way. We're all in improv, and we're doing our lives and then that's a quite resilient fashion. We just keep coming back and doing it the best we can, and supporting each other in that. And so there is diversity of experience, and there's diversity of season, and there's diversity of and resilience itself expresses in such diverse ways. I'm very compelled by considering these wildfire sites that follow megafires, many megafires. And you're writing some about this. The destruction to the forests is so profound that in some places grasslands are coming back rather than the forests being able to repopulate. But my sense is that
against climate change being a big factor as well. So yeah,
sure.
Huge fires and climate change. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, and climate change helping with that. Okay, but my sense is that those grasses depending on, and climate change is going to continue changing. You know, something will give. Either the humans will quit creating or the humans won't last, or we don't know what will happen. But my guess is forests will eventually reemerge. It's just a slower process than in healthy wildfires. Would you say that's so?
Well, I guess it depends on how fast what we've done to the atmosphere recovers. So it certainly could be centuries before
Well, that's what I
the,
mean.
the circumstances were right to grow
Yeah,
forests again. But that's
that's
a
what I mean.
blink of an eye
Right.
in the history
Right.
of planet Earth.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think eventually this emergence that we're seeing right now, this time of year, that we can all tune into and get very excited about.
We can count on.
That's the force that will carry maybe what turned into a grassland ultimately into forest again.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we're thinking about this month of June. This really ample and lush and wonderful month of June that will lead into the summer months and into the harvest, and round the cycle goes. We're thinking of resilience, and we hope that you'll join us on the 13th of June for the deep dive. That'll be at 6:30 Mountain Time on the 13th of June. And then we're looking forward to our retreats.
Yes.
They've closed, and so we're on to have that, and we will report back on how those go. Let's see, anything else? Come write us.
You know, one other thing I want to say, I think one of the resilient strategies we've developed, and a lot of people who live in Montana, is this time of year is so beautiful and the summer is so perfect that it erases the pain of
I
those
know,
cold,
really
cold
quick.
days and that deep snow and falling on your butt on the ice. It
Right.
just sort of melts away in the presence of all this emergence, all this creative resilience, and that's a kind of resilience for us too. We
Right.
just sort of put that
Yeah, we're enjoying
on
that a
the
lot.
upper shelf.
Yeah. So anyway, do write us at connect@fullecology.com. We love hearing from you.
Yes.
And yeah, join us for the deep dive, and have a wonderful month yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you for your interest in Full Ecology. Check us out at www.fullecology.com.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Have a great month.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.